The wind swept across Dustwater Ridge like a ghostly whisper, rattling the shutters of every wooden shack in the dying frontier town. Dustwater had once been a thriving mining settlement, where people came seeking fortune, justice, or, at the very least, a second chance, but now it lay half abandoned, its streets quiet, its dreams buried under sand and silence. At the heart of this forgotten place stood Sheriff Elias Thorn, a man carved from the very grit of the West. Broad-shouldered, steel-eyed, and carrying a calmness that frightened most men more than gunfire ever could. Folks said Elias had seen more blood than a battlefield, and buried more demons than a preacher could pray away, yet he kept the peace in Dustwater with nothing but a silver star and an unbreakable will. That quiet night, however, peace was about to shatter. It began as a distant rumble, soft, then stronger, then powerful enough to tremble the whiskey glasses in the saloon and shake dust loose from the rafters. Lights flickered on across the town as people emerged from their homes, looking out toward the horizon with fear clawing at their chests. A cloud of rising dirt signaled the arrival of dozens, no hundreds. Black silhouettes rode in tight formation, torches blazing like a river of fire snaking through the darkness. Every rider bore the same sigil on their coats, a vulture clutching a broken crown, the emblem of the Blackstone Mercenary Legion, an outlaw army feared across 5 states. Their leader, a brutal warlord named Corvin Maddox, had left entire towns in ashes, their people scattered or dead. And now he was coming for Dustwater. Sheriff Elias stepped out onto Main Street, his boots crunching in the sand, his long coat swaying behind him like the shadow of a storm. He didn't flinch, didn't blink. He simply watched the approaching legion with the same expression he wore when studying the desert. Calm, calculating, unafraid. Deputy Hanley rushed over, breathless and trembling, clutching a rifle as though it were his last connection to life. "Sheriff, that's Maddox. That's his whole damn army!" "Elias, we gotta run. Gather the folks. Pack what we can." Elias cut him off with a slow shake of the head. "If we run, they'll hunt us. If we hide, they'll burn the town. But if we stand our ground," his voice was low but firm, "we give them a fight they'll never forget." The deputy's face turned pale. "Just the 2 of us against an army." "1 of us," Elias corrected gently. "You're gonna get the townsfolk out through the canyon trail. Take the children, the elders, everyone who can't fight. Ride hard and don't look back." Hanley felt tears sting his eyes. "Sheriff, they'll kill you." Elias placed a hand on his shoulder. "Maybe. But Dustwater's seen enough running. Tonight, someone stands." While Hanley gathered the people and guided them toward escape, Elias walked alone down the center of the street. He checked the bullets in his revolvers, tightened his belt, and lifted his chin to face destiny itself. When the Blackstone Legion rolled into town, their formation stretched like a sea of shadows. Maddox himself rode at the head, a towering figure with a scar twisted across his cheek and eyes black as tar. He laughed when he saw Elias standing alone. "Well, look what we got here. 1 man? Where's your army, Sheriff?" Elias replied steadily, "You're looking at it." The men behind Maddox roared with laughter, but the warlord himself frowned. Something about Elias's posture, unshaking, unbroken, made him feel as though he were staring at a wall that refused to collapse. Maddox spurred his horse forward. "Move aside. I'm taking this town. There's a vault filled with gold in your old mine, and I aim to have it." Elias's hand hovered near his holster. "Turn around and ride out. Last warning." Maddox grinned. "Kill him." And just like that, hell erupted. Gunfire exploded across Dustwater like a thunderstorm. Elias dove behind a water trough, bullets cutting through the air inches from his head. He returned fire with deadly precision, dropping the first 3 mercenaries before they even realized he'd drawn. Sparks flew as rounds struck metal, wood splintered around him, and the ground vibrated with the stampede of boots. Yet Elias moved like a ghost, rolling, sprinting, firing, never staying in one place long enough to die. He ducked into the old saloon, flipped a table for cover, and with 2 perfectly timed shots, shattered a lantern that ignited the entrance, forcing the attackers to fall back. His brain calculated every angle, every ricochet, every move. He may have been alone, but his determination was an army of its own. More men poured into the street, Maddox barking orders over the chaos. Elias's lungs burned, his limbs ached, but he fought on with the wrath of a man who had nothing left to lose and everything left to protect. And as the night grew darker and the flames rose higher, every mercenary realized the same horrifying truth. Dustwater Ridge wasn't defended by a sheriff. It was defended by a legend. The burning glow of the saloon framed Elias like a silhouette carved from fire as he stepped back into the open street. The mercenaries hesitated, terrified by the impossible number of bodies one man had already dropped. Smoke curled in the air, gunpowder thick enough to taste, but Elias's breathing was steady. He advanced step by step, boots echoing off the wooden boards like the drumbeats of war. Maddox snarled, rallying his troops with a roar. "He's only one man! Take him!" A wave of mercenaries surged forward, but Elias was faster than they expected. He darted left, firing from behind a hitching post, then rolled into the shadow of the general's store. His bullets found targets with inhuman accuracy, dropping men from rooftops, sending riders crashing off horses, pinning gunmen in alleys before they had a chance to aim. He fought with the ruthless efficiency of a soldier shaped by nightmares, each movement honed by memories of battles long past. But even legends bleed. A bullet grazed his shoulder, ripping through flesh. Another clipped his thigh. Pain flashed like lightning, but Elias pushed through it, gritting his teeth as he reached the sheriff's office. Inside, he grabbed his last rifle, a long, heavy weapon he had once sworn never to use again. Engraved on the stock were the initials of his fallen brother, a soldier who died in a war that Elias never truly escaped. "Just one more fight, brother," Elias whispered as he cocked the rifle. With a deep breath, he smashed the window and began firing from within the darkened room. Each shot dropped a mercenary with the sound of thunder, lighting the night with muzzle flashes. Maddox's army faltered, panicking as their numbers dwindled. The warlord himself watched in disbelief. "This ain't possible, no one fights like that." He signaled his demolition crew. "Blow the sheriff's office to hell." Elias heard the metallic clink of dynamite being lit. His heart pounded. Smoke wafted beneath the door. He had seconds. He sprinted out the back exit just as a blast tore the building apart, the explosion launching him across the ground. His ears rang, vision blurred, and his hand trembled as he pushed himself up. Flames roared around him. But the fight was far from over. Maddox stepped forward with 10 of his strongest men, forming a circle around the dazed sheriff. "End of the line, Thorn," Maddox growled. Elias, coughing smoke, wiped blood from his mouth. "You're right about one thing, it ends tonight." The mercenaries opened fire, but Elias threw himself behind a broken wagon, returning shots with brutal precision. He moved with desperation, with purpose, with a will so fierce it defied exhaustion. One by one, Maddox's elite soldiers fell until only the warlord remained. Maddox, furious beyond reason, drew 2 massive revolvers. "You think you're some kind of hero?" Elias stepped forward, wounded but unbowed. "No. Just the last line between men like you and people who deserve to live." The two fired simultaneously. Maddox's bullet grazed Elias's ribs, but Elias's shot struck true, sending the warlord crashing back onto the dust, defeated at last. Silence fell over Dustwater Ridge. The flames crackled, the smoke drifted upward, and the sheriff staggered forward, barely standing yet victorious. As dawn crept over the horizon, Deputy Hanley and the townsfolk returned cautiously. When they saw Elias, bleeding, exhausted, but alive, they rushed to him, lifting him up with tearful gratitude. Dustwater had been saved by a single man. A man who refused to back down. A man who proved courage is stronger than any army. And so the legend of the sheriff who took on an army alone spread across the frontier like wildfire, whispered in saloons, etched in journals, and passed down for generations. And as the story closes, if you want more epic, cinematic tales like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on notifications, because more powerful stories are on the way. And you won't want to miss a single one.